Welcome to D210 Sports TV. It's New Year's Day, and we're here at the Star in Frisco. I'm Brittany Madrid.
And I'm Brianna Dix.
And we are chatting about yesterday's game against the Eagles. What a win. I feel like that was so exciting for the Cowboys to win 6-0 against the Eagles at, the very end of 2017. Way to go out on a good note, right?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty exciting. But there were some things that were going on obviously throughout the season that were an issue because we did have some failed expectations. We were kind of chatting about that earlier. So, Brianna, what do you think were some of the major expectations that they didn't quite meet this season?
Well, coming in from last year, ending 13-3, there was some very high expectations for this season that just kind of weren't quite met. You had Dak and Zeke, who had an incredible rookie season last year. But then coming into this year, we ended 9-7, didn't make playoffs. So it's kind of a lot of talk about kind of what went wrong. I think a lot of the issues were we had a ton of injuries, especially with all-pro left tackle Tyron Smith being out. That was a big thing. And then linebacker Sean Lee. We need to have better depth in those positions coming into next year. And just the backups kind of, you had Byron Bell coming in for Tyron Smith, who had a ton of racked up holding penalties that would bring things back. Like in the game against the Eagles, Des finally caught the ball and then had a 52-yard catch, and then it was driven back from the holding penalty. And then Anthony Hitchens in for Sean Lee just kind of didn't have those instincts and that playmaking style and the drive that Sean Lee has on the field. Yeah. So definitely more depth at that. And then obviously the issues with our offensive line, not being able to make those connections between Dak and Dez has been a big issue, and just kind of not having those playmakers in the receiver positions and having to rely on the running game has been a big issue this year.
Yeah, and we were talking also about like the young secondary and how it kind of took them a little bit of time to hit their stride, and once they did amazing. But in the season, that was definitely an issue.
Yeah.
So it seems like there were kind of just a few factors that weren't clicking this season. And that, I think, combined with some coaching issues. What do you think were some of the biggest coaching issues that happened this season?
I think a lot of it was just the conservative play calling by Jason Garrett has been a big issue. Yeah. Just kind of not having some versatility with the play calling. I think has been a big issue. But also I think Rod Marinelli did a great job with the defense. You had all those young guys coming in, and once they found the rhythm in the second half of the season, they did incredible. The game against the Washington Redskins,
so amazing.
Was completely won by Awuzie and Xavier Woods and Jordan Lewis. Those guys have done incredible. So I think once we get kind of the offense figured out and get that squared away and get kind of some more versatility with the play calling and, being able to add the passing game in there as well as the running game, I think that will help out the Cowboys a lot next season.
Definitely. That'll kind of bring it all together, close that gap that we have right now. And then speaking of next season, there's some key players whose contracts are up.
Yes.
So that's going to be kind of a big deal to watch too. Who are the main people whose contracts are up that we want to kind of keep an eye on?
Well, we have guard Zach Martin and then Demarcus Lawrence, the Tank, and we have got to get those guys. Their contracts are ending.
We got to keep them.
So I think a lot of the big talk is, what do you do with the wide receivers? You've got to let go of people that aren't producing, and then you've got guys like Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence who are performing and having results on the field week in and week out. So, you've got to kind of have a balance there and be able to let some guys go to be able to bring those guys back in underneath the salary cap for next year.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see during the offseason and going into the draft how the Cowboys things. I think that the moves that they make and the actions that they start taking are going to really show what they're thinking and kind of the new structure, hopefully for next season that will be a lot more exciting than this season was. It was kind of unfortunate to be out so soon and not even have a chance to make it to the playoffs. I know everybody was pretty bummed out about that, but the Cowboys seem to always bounce back and do a good job about bringing things back together. So stick with us during the off season, you guys, because we're going to be keeping up with what they're doing, and we'll see some changes, I'm sure. We'll see some different things happening.
Hopefully we'll have a better outcome.
I think
Maybe
so.
Some playoff appearances next year.
Maybe.
I think so. Well, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Coming to you live from the Star, your Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters. You've just been credentialed.